So, ladies and gentlemen, for our next segment, we have a leader whose bio blew our minds. Especially the line, I provide specialized expertise of solution architect in building distributed, highly available, fault-tolerant performance systems. So let's give it up for Mr. Rahul Gupta, Senior Director, Solution Architect, Hazelcast. Mr. Gupta, kindly come on up with a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause. Mr. Gupta, in a very short line, see, firstly, this word fault tolerant was very refreshing for me. Was somehow, it shows that you have this acceptability for fault, which is the very nature of life. So what would you say is that one thing that you have learned from the fault tolerant systems that you have helped build?
Look, it's like babies, right? Your children. They make mistakes. You develop tolerance to tolerate to a certain extent. But then there comes a point when you want to fix that, right? So we provide the technology that helps you build those kind of applications that develop certain level of fault tolerance. But at the same time, once the fault reaches a certain threshold, then you have to act on it.
You have to
right?
be the parent.
To fix the abnormalities and all those things. So that's what we do.
My God, Mr. Gupta, I was trying to give it a very personal, philosophical touch, but I appreciate how you stuck to your ground. You're like, no, I'm going to make it technical. Fantastic.
You caught me off guard there.
Mr. Gupta, but absolutely amazing answer. Stage is all yours. Thank you so much. And that's your clicker. Yeah, thanks.
Am I audible back there? Yep. Right. Cool. Thank you. Well, thanks for your time today. We are working with limited bandwidth, so I'm going to quickly skip through. Actually, you know what? No. So I'm here to talk about real time, what we do in real time, what does it mean, real time business, and where do we fit in, and so on and so forth. Before anything, I would like to share my experience. 5 years ago, I moved from Delhi to Australia for personal reasons. But I'd been a long time HDFC Bank customer. Is anyone from HDFC here? Anyone? You're going to love this, man. I came to India after 3 years, last week in Pune. Day one, I swiped my HDFC Bank debit card at a retailer with an HDFC FPOS machine, right? I swiped my card, keyed the PIN number, swiped the card. Exactly 1.4 seconds later, the result of the transaction arrived. The machine said approved, and it also flashed a message, processed in 1.4 seconds. And I looked at it, I'm like, wow. It felt like the machine is looking at me with a happy face, hey, ain't I fast, right? That's the kind of experience. And I'm like, it blew my mind because yes, we are all used to swiping a card and the machine and taking about 2, 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. But that time, I realized that, wow, HDFC has done a great job. And if they are able to process that transaction in 1.4 seconds, imagine how many millions of customers they are currently processing. They're currently processing their transactions at that rate. And that is the level of customer experience that HDFC is providing. Amazing. And that's what is called real-time responsiveness, right? HDFC, I'm not saying they use Hazelcast. I don't know they use Hazelcast, but that's my observation as a customer. Another story, a 21-year-old boy studying his bachelor's in University of Warsaw in Poland, goes to an ATM machine, his bank's ATM machine, inserts his debit card, keys his PIN number, and 2 seconds later, he gets a text message on his phone saying that, hey, you are eligible for 300 euros worth of microloan. Are you interested? If yes, then press 1. If no, then press 2. The guy presses 1. Immediately, instantly, he gets a confirmation that yes, the money is available, continue with your ATM machine. Then he goes back to his ATM machine, and he sees the message flashing, money is available, takes the money out, gets out of the ATM machine box, calls his dad saying that, Dad, no need to send me money this week, I'm all sorted. right? Now that's what is called real-time detection of a need, of a requirement, and then being able to respond to that need in real time as well. That bank is called BNP Paribas in Poland, and the technology that enables the whole real-time processing is Hazelcast. All right? Many different organizations worldwide, they are currently working with those principles using Hazelcast as the enabler. I'm gonna just cut through this. And real time has actually become a business term, right? That has become a requirement to respond to those situations. Situations could be many, right? You could be a customer making online transactions. You could be at a shopping mall or performing online shopping and generating, again, financial transactions. You could be receiving a fraudulent event. I myself was a victim of a fraudulent event when someone stole my identity, called up my bank, changed my details, and downloaded my credit card details onto his Apple Pay, went to shopping, and shopped worth of $8,000 in XO. Now, all this happened while I was on phone with the bank because I received a message that PIN number has been changed. So I called up the bank, and I was with the bank for an hour and a half. And in those 1.5 hour window, that person did all what he did. And then ultimately the bank refunded the money 50 days later, but then it's a loss to the bank itself. They were not able to respond to my urgent situation quickly. Yep. There could be critical processes, your workloads that are currently running, managing, for example, things like payment processing systems, fraud detection, online e-retail banking and all those things. If any of the critical process breaks, you don't want that. You want, that's an urgent situation. On a hospital bed, you have a patient that needs urgent attention, then you want to be able to respond to that requirement, to that event in real time without any delays. Right? And that's what is real time. What is real time? Real time is, as soon as an event happens, you got to respond to that event without any delay. And so with the requirements, the economy, the real-time economy is also changing. In the past decade or so, I don't know if you are familiar with the big data terminologies like Hadoop, MapReduce, and all those things. There used to be a plethora of applications and use cases which would process their data, which would do batch processing tasks and so on and so forth. The batch processing task could be doing end of the day banking reconciliations in a payment systems, or in market risk or credit risk systems where you would be running risk analysis, and those could be 8 hours, 9 hours job. I used to work for, well, I'm not going to name the bank, but I used to work for an organization, a bank, 10, 12 years ago, and I used to work in a software development division that would develop applications for market risk, right? And there we used to run analytics jobs that would run overnight. 6 o'clock, we start the job, next day, we come back, and that's the way we find the result. But guess what? With technologies like Hazelcast, now those jobs are executed on demand. A business analyst clicks a button, and he gets the entire result of market risk analysis in 2 seconds or 5 seconds. That's the kind of response time we are dealing here with. Many large enterprise organizations worldwide, they are leading the market. The likes of Netflix, Google, Apple, Visa, American Express, they are all setting examples in real-time responsiveness and the applications that make that happen. And this economy is moving fast. We all know that India has produced 46% of digital transactions worldwide, right? And this number is going to grow. What this screen here, we see that the likes of economists, the likes of McKinsey, they say that real-time payments grew by 40% in the year 2020 alone, and it's going to go exponentially high by the year 2025, right? That's how fast real-time market is moving. So what this is about, right? Where am I? Yeah. So what is this about? What is, where do we fit in? What the heck is real time? Like I said, the ability to respond to an event, to a need, right? You build an application that detects a need in real time, and you respond to that need in real time, right? That is called real-time system. Now, waiting, as soon as you begin to wait for an event, it is not real time anymore, right? So waiting is bad. Waiting is bad whether you as an application developer, whether you as a customer, waiting is poor. You don't want any wait, any delays in having your requirements completed. So what do we do? What if we removed all the complexity for real-time system? Because the moment you talk about real-time, architects and senior engineers, they start thinking like, oh, real-time systems, gotta be complex, gotta be complicated technology, a lot of hardware, a lot of software, what do I do? High learning curve, oh, I can't do this. But no, guess what? If we take away all that complexity from you, if we move you from the region of slow data access to fast data access to real-time responsiveness with minimal interruption in your daily development workloads, what would be your response? Let's take a look. Sorry, these are not updated slides. So this is what we do, and this is how we're going to do that. Hazelcast is a technology which is all about doing everything in the memory. Now, when we say memory, it may sound niche, cliche, but you know what? That's what matters. The disk-bound data access. So all of us, we build applications that interact with databases, right? Where we have data stored somewhere, and we got to use that data, we got to interact, communicate with that data, right? But it has been proven scientifically that the disk-bound data stores have limitations in terms of processing capabilities, in terms of processing speeds, right? Modern applications, they expect faster access to data. If you are writing an application which is designed to respond to a business event in real time, then that means you need access to that data in real time, right? What if a transaction happens, I swipe my card, the transaction goes into your backend system, and now you have built a smart application that's going to respond to that transaction, that's going to process the transaction in real time, which basically means performing enrichment, transformation on that data, running your thousands of business checks, fraudulent checks, and all those things. But guess what? If your database is slow, if your database cannot get the data faster to your workload, which is processing the transaction, it's not going to matter at all. It's not going to be real time. So that's what we provide. We provide in-memory access, in-memory capabilities, so that you have exponentially faster access to the data. It has been proven that in-memory data stores 1,000 times faster than disk-bound databases. The examples of disk-bound databases would be MySQL Server, MS SQL, Oracle, Postgres, Node, MongoDB, Cassandra, everything. So with Hazelcast, we provide data storage, everything in memory, sorry, running in the memory of Hazelcast servers. And we also provide the computing capabilities. Typically, you would have your data sitting somewhere, and you would have your applications running somewhere else. And whenever your applications, they trigger their execution, they trigger their workload execution, and whenever they need data, they would typically go into database, run the queries, get the data, get into the application space. And all that overhead counts, right? There is networking overhead, the data traveling from one point to another, and there is other complex computational overheads that matter. So we remove all that complexity by getting your workloads, by moving your workloads into the same space, onto the same servers where data is also located. The system can ingest events, business events, from any type of source, can write its output to any type of channel of your choice. You got your business application. So, a few people here have asked me, hey, where does Hazelcast fit into the ecosystem, software ecosystem? Yes, I understand what you do, but how do I use your technology? So the answer is, Hazelcast sits between your application layer and your database. So we are sort of a middleware technology, right? Where we front the database so that your applications, they interact with Hazelcast only. And that's what you want. If you want the benefit of in-memory speeds, you don't want your applications going to the database. So you change the connections of your applications going to the database to application going to Hazelcast. And then from there on, all data operations execute on Hazelcast, right? Then your applications develop your workloads, your transaction processing, your real-time offers, your fraud check applications, all those things. You develop, using Hazelcast APIs, you define those workloads and deploy on Hazelcast. So all your data operations, all your compute operations are now running on Hazelcast. At the same time, this technology works beautifully with your databases, right? We're not here to replace database if you don't want to. You have a big system of records with terabytes and petabytes of data sitting in that, and you don't want to replace it. Of course, we understand that, right? But at the same time, you want to get the benefit of in-memory speeds, so that's where Hazelcast works very nicely with databases, right? So all the applications, sorry. Sorry, this is not supposed to happen. It's missing slides. So the applications only write to Hazelcast, and Hazelcast makes sure that the synchronization between its own in-memory store and database happens behind the scenes automatically for you, right? That's all taken care of by Hazelcast. So this is the complete platform architecture, where the code is written, your workloads are defined by your applications, deployed on Hazelcast, the data is sitting there, and the platform is now able to move, ingest data from one point and write output to another point. That's the whole ecosystem. We don't require any third-party infrastructure to deploy Hazelcast cluster. It's a distributed technology. We don't require the likes of Kubernetes or any other orchestration technology. And going back, some of the typical use cases that we can think of, let's say digital integration hub space. Some of the typical use cases would be customer 360-degree analysis, mainframe integration, data as service, real-time data mart, real-time offers. We do quite a lot of work in payments processing systems, real-time offers. Some of the major credit card providers, they use Hazelcast as the underlying technology to run millions of their payment processing, right? Millions of payments being processed at the same time on Hazelcast. I'm not going to take the name, but you can all imagine there are not many credit card providers out there in the market. Quickly going to run through this. Sorry, this was not supposed to have happened. Yeah, so this is now going back to that same story of BNP Paribas, right, that I was talking about earlier. As you can see, using Hazelcast, we enabled BNP Paribas to increase their loan revenues by 4 times. And it's instant increase, instant benefit that they get. The system now doesn't see any downtime at all, right? It's always available, high 9s, 6 and 7 nines of availability that we guarantee. right? And that's the kind of experience BNP Paribas is able to provide to its end customers. And that gives them many more opportunities. That opens up the box, you know, for more and more opportunities, business opportunities. They start with microloan today. You know, there is no end. There could be insurance, there could be other premiums and all those kinds of activities. Just a quick look, before I wrap up, just a quick look on how the whole thing works at BNP Paribas. In that use case, customer, this typical existing 𝐄𝐝𝐢𝐭 infrastructure, customer goes into an ATM machine, keys his PIN number, and that generates a message, that creates a trigger from an application that starts generating the process of executing workloads on Hazelcast. So from a message queue, an event goes to Hazelcast, and at Hazelcast, the workload of generating real-time offers executes. Before that, it profiles the customer, runs a machine learning algorithm. All those things happen within few milliseconds. Okay? And then the response comes out, goes into an SMS engine, and from that SMS engine, the offer goes to the customer. That's an end-to-end cycle. And that's just one customer use case. There are loads of other banks out there in the wild, HSBC, Standard Chartered, JP Morgan, Capital One, Visa. They all run critical systems on Hazelcast. With this, last bit, we got our own cloud offering. Hazelcast can be deployed in many different ways. Hazelcast can be run on your bare metal servers, on your own data centers, in private data centers, in cloud, and so on and so forth. The last bit I want to touch upon is this particular performance benchmark, which might be interest to you, should be of interest to you. We are a population of 1.4 billion people. What this benchmark says, that Hazelcast is able to deliver 1 billion events per second. That means it is able to process 1 billion business events per second, every single second. Yeah? Now this benchmark, it was published, it was done, the benchmark was conducted on really commodity level kind of hardware. You know, we are looking at around 45, 46 VMs or machines that are just churning this benchmark. And we didn't stop there. I think the population of the world that is connected to internet is around 3.5, 4 billion people. So we wanted to see whether we can serve all internet users that are connected to the internet, all the users connected to the internet at the same time. So what we did, we expanded this from 1 billion to 1.5 billion, 2 billion. We are sitting at 5 billion events per second. The benchmark is coming out soon. And we are going to go all the way up to 10 billion events per second. So that's the kind of technology we are dealing here with, which is able to serve lots of customer requests, lots of business events concurrently at the same time. At the same time, you provide ultra fast experience, the best experience available you can serve to the customer. I don't have to wait at the customer, at the FPOS machine for 5 seconds. Tap, go. Yep. That's about it. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope my presentation made some sense. We are in the booth outside. Please feel free to come and talk to us if you're interested. Thanks for your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Mr. Gupta. Golden words from our golden partner, Hazelcast. Thank you so much. And Mr. Gupta, how does it feel to be back in India after 3 years? Super fun.
Fun, yes, absolutely. Like I said, I had heard, a lot of stories, a lot of innovation going on in the country. We had seen on the news that yes, a lot of business transactions, digital transactions worldwide are being now generated in India. But it's so much different to experience it firsthand.
Absolutely,
right?
fantastic.
And incredible.
Thank you so much. As great as you feel coming back to India.